Oh, that's the wrong super ton. Today we're talking about how to transition from one-on-one to group. Tell me if any of this sounds familiar. Are you a therapist and you are burning out holding space for people who are maybe not really willing to do the work? Or you're a life coach, a fitness coach, somebody who's been working with people one-on-one in a coaching, in the coaching sphere, but you have now hit some kind of ceiling on how many people you can work with. You are burning out. You've got back-to-back calls. You're spread too thin. You're scared to stop marketing because if you stop marketing, then the clients dry up. If any of this sounds like you, this is the place to be. And I hope you've got a notebook handy because I'm actually going to take you through a workshop live here today. I'm going to ask you some questions and get you to do the work right here so that I can guide you through this process. I hope you're up for it because we're going to take you from one-on-one to group. So Pat's fired, right? Because he put the wrong super up. Welcome, everybody. Pat is the voice of God and the guy who creates these amazing banners. We just had the banner from last week up on the screen right now. But today we are talking about how to transition to group coaching. If you are watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because I go live here every single week. And I'm here to provide you with trainings that are going to get you further along, if you are willing to implement them, obviously, than the last $2,000 program that you purchased. All right. If you're watching the replay, give me a big old hashtag replay. I love finding out who my replay peeps are. I know not everybody can make this time work. So if you're watching this on replay, come in, participate as if you were live. That is when you're going to get the most value. In fact, unfortunately, folks who watch the replay sometimes get distracted. They're like, oh yeah, it's just a video, so I'm going to come back and watch it. And then you don't. And then it doesn't work for you. So we're going to talk about some of these psychological aspects today during the workshop, because today is not just a live, it's an actual workshop. So I hope you have pen and paper handy because I'm going to guide you through some exercises. All right. Let me know who's here. So I'm going to be looking for you here and looking for your comments. I love finding out who's here watching me live. I love finding out who my replay peeps are. Tell me what your topic is. Where in the world are you located and what is your coaching topic? And I'm going to be looking for you right here. So tell me what your coaching topic is and where in the world you're located. Folks have picked up clients from this group. I don't usually let folks promote, but this is a great place to make new friends, get known, and pick up clients. So tell us where you're from and where in the world you're located and what your topic is. Hey, I see June's here. June is tagging people. I love you, June. Thank you. Hey, Christy. Christy's here. Jackie's here. Fantastic. Okay, Jackie has a question already. She says, how do I convince clients that it's added value and not a loss moving from one-on-one? And also, how can I truly be of service to everyone in the group? Oh, beautiful. You're going to love this. So we're going to talk about all of this. Tell me what's going on. And I have a question for you today. What is your biggest struggle around group coaching? So Jackie's already answered the question. If you have a particular struggle that you're like, Geeta, I really want to do group. I'm super tempted. I see other people doing it, but like, what's your ... Tell me what that is. Put it in the comments so that I can make sure that we address it during this workshop. Okay, cool. Awesome. Let's dive in. Now, let's talk about, has everybody got a pen and a piece of paper? If you don't, go get it. Run. I'm serious. Go. I'm going to chit chat a little bit, but you don't have much time. So go get a pen and piece of paper. And let's make a big cross. I'm just going to dive right in because we're going to be talking about the benefits of group versus one-on-one. Okay, the benefits of group versus one-on-one. So what I want you to do, and I've prepared a little graphic for you. I got real crafty on my iPad, and I prepared a graphic. So I basically want you to make a big cross on your screen. Yeah, not on your screen, on your paper, the way that it is on the screen. Can you hear my kids in the background?
Yes.
Or is that just in my...
I can hear them.
Okay. Okay, so that was loud for no reason. All right, so I basically want you to draw exactly what you see on the screen. On one side, you have the one-on-one. On the other side, you have group, and you have the benefits on the top, and you have the fears on the bottom. And I specifically wrote, I didn't write pros and cons because I want you to really feel into not just the intellectual aspects of this, but the visceral, emotional side of things, right? Because your limiting beliefs are what's going to keep you from creating something that is the best of both worlds. So, what I'm going to have you do, okay, so Deborah says, here's her struggle. How do you do group coaching with people who have never had one-on-one coaching? So I think that's what you're asking, Deborah. I was like, how do you do group coaching with new people? Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Really quick, I'm going to get Pat to play some music, and I want you to write out just all the benefits that you're aware of, that you can think of, that are related to one-on-one, benefits to you and benefits to your clients. All right. And the timer is going to run for 60 seconds. And then we're going to come back and I'm going to talk you through the next part of the exercise, right? So we're just working on the one-on-one, just the one-on-one, just the benefits. Go. All right. Awesome. So hopefully everybody has written down the benefits of one-on-one. Okay, I want you to write out, so whatever you've got going on there. Now we're going to move to your fears. So what are your fears? What are your fears for yourself with one-on-one? What are the limits that you see? What are the problems that you see with the situation? And what are some of the fears or problems that you see with it with regards to clients? I want you to put all of your fears, everything that you can think of in the next 60 seconds in the fears column under the one-on-one on the left side. Let's do it. All right. And that brings us to the end of that 60 seconds. So I'm going to talk you through some of what I came up with, right? So I did this exercise right here with you. I'm going to walk you through some of my answers to this. And while I'm doing that, I would like you to pop your answers to the benefits of one-on-one in the comment section. So share with me what some of the benefits were that you came up with. So I'm going to talk you through mine. So obviously there's a huge amount of intimacy when we work with our clients. Every single one of our clients is working one-on-one with our mindset coaches. We're using hypnotherapy, we're using NLP, tapping, all kinds of EFT, whatever the specific client is the best able to receive, and that is required for whatever the challenges that we're moving them through, right? So the intimacy of one-on-one allows somebody to really just let it all hang out, say their oogiest, darkest, deepest fear. They're able to just let it out. So that's huge. privacy, right? Like you're not worried about other people having privileged information. If you're a leadership coach or if you work with folks in corporate, that might be a bit of an issue. Trust, there's an incredible amount of trust that is built in that bubble of one-on-one where there's just one person holding space for somebody else. Customization, well, duh, right? When you're working one-on-one with somebody, it's so much easier to customize the velocity of, how quickly you're working together. You can adapt the details, you can really hone it in and provide something deeply custom for someone. And then that brings me back to speed, right? If you're working with an advanced player versus a beginner, with a beginner you can slow everything down. With an advanced player you can speed it up and skip over the pieces that are already done. So those are some of the benefits that I came up with for one-on-one. Okay, I want to see what your benefits are. Deep work, Devora says. Let's see. One, energy. I love that. Personalized focus. Of course, that makes so much sense. Sneha says better results for the client and less stressful for both. That's interesting that you have this as an assumption. That's interesting. So we're going to talk through that. Who else? So much easier to customize, even though I'm learning how to do this in a group. So there you go. That's Nicole. All right. Now let's talk through the fears, right? What are the fears for one-on-one with regards to you? So if you, the practitioner, you, the coach, are providing services one-on-one, well, then there's a good chance that you're going to hit some kind of ceiling, right? You're going to have to juggle the client acquisition pieces of your business. You're going to have to juggle the admin pieces of your business, and you're going to have to juggle the one-on-one actual hours of your business. And that's going to lead to burnout likely before you hit your wild income goal. Your earnings are capped. That's exactly what I just said, right? There's time pressure. So it's very difficult to have freedom with this one-on-one model. What happens if you get sick? Money dries up, like it's gone. If you want to take a vacation, then you have to accept that you're going to make less money. Do you see what I mean? So there's no real freedom there. And my favorite, this is the one that I love talking about, is if you've been in coaching for any length of time, and tell me if this resonates for you, you have for sure worked with somebody who has a great deal of internal resistance, right? They come to your one-on-one calls and they say, yeah, but ... And then they spend as much time as you will allow talking about all the reasons that it's not possible. They tell you, oh, but Geeta, it's easy for you to do this because you have XYZ thing, that resource thing that I don't have. Geeta, it's easy for you because you don't have XYZ obstacle that I do have, right? And there's this crazy amount of resistance that a client can bring to a one-on-one situation. And then it's just you versus them. And it's just a matter of like whose frame is stronger, who is able to maintain their position more strongly. And it can be a real freak. It can be really draining and really exhausting to work with people in this context. So those are some of the downsides to one-on-one. Now, here's what we're going to do. Now that we've talked through this, I want us to switch to the other side of the paper, and we're going to start writing out the benefits of group. Again, think about the benefits in terms of benefits to you and then benefits to the client. So I'm going to give you 60 seconds. Let's go. All right. So that brings us back. What you've written out your benefits, right, for group. Now I want us to move into fears. So I want you to write out what are all your fears, all your resistances, all your belief systems around the reason group is not a good fit for you, not a good fit for your work, and not a good fit for your clients. Go. All right. So let's debrief, okay, everybody? So I would love for you to, those of you that didn't put your fears for one-on-one, I noticed Devorah did. That was really helpful. Put them in the chat, in the comments, and then tell me what are the benefits that you came up with from group, and what are some of your fears around group. And I'm going to walk you through mine, okay? Hopefully you can hear me all right and the music's not too loud. So the first benefit is, of course, leverage. This is a benefit to you. You're going to be able to imagine you have like all your one-on-ones are like every client is a separate hour or 90 minutes or however long you take on your calendar. When you're working with a group, that's all of those clients in one block in your calendar, right? So there's a whole bunch of time that opens up. And honestly, when you're holding space, when you're doing this coaching work, you need time to rest, to recover. Because if you don't cleanse your own energy, if you don't drop the stuff, the energy that you pick up from your clients, then you're not going to be able to perform, especially over time. You're going to burn out. You're going to pick up all this gunk and it's going to be not great. So this gives you a lot of leverage. This also allows you to focus on higher performing activities in your business. Because remember, if you're doing one-on-one, you're essentially a coach. Like you're an employee. You're doing a job. You're doing a trade. You need time to zoom out and focus on the business. When you're working with clients, you're in the business. Does that make sense? In order to have a healthy business, you need to have time to do both. So leverage is huge. Now, one of the benefits of group is the community. Oh my God, it makes such a huge difference. Most of us, when we have a deep, like especially in the premium space, people pay lots of money to solve certain problems because there's a desperation and a loneliness and a shame often attached with having whatever the problem is, whether it's a health problem, a relationship problem, a business problem. It doesn't matter what the problem is. There's often a deep loneliness and a sense of, oh, I'm the only one that has this attached. So having a community of like-minded people that all have similar aspirations, similar pain, similar struggles, similar journeys, that can be a huge balm. And just that provides a huge amount of healing that you can't provide one-on-one. There's a momentum that's created with a group. When the lights go on, there's something about the collective that really spurs breakthroughs. You can often have, a client that's really stuck or really struggling or really suffering in a particular way, and then you put them in this positive situation where, okay, a whole bunch of people have been stuck in that way. They're sharing pieces of their journey that are applicable to this client. This is all lived experience. Now, instead of just your lived experience that you're bringing to the table, you're bringing this incredible collective lived experience. Now you're talking hundreds of years collectively of lived experience, and that can completely change the trajectory of that one stuck, struggling client. Co-creation. This is one of my absolute favorites, is that I often see how clients will combine their energies, their geniuses, their ideas. And so we're in co-creation on our group calls. We can see how people can come up with just different angles on the same problem. They can word things differently. I'll say something and three different people will share the insights that landed for them. And in three people's insights being shared, I mean, even just me as a coach, my own understanding of what I just shared is deepened. And then each of them has a deeper understanding of that particular insight, just from looking at somebody else's slightly different take on the same subject. Does that make sense? Feedback. I mean, imagine you work one-on-one with somebody and they're like, well, you know what? I don't like the way you do X, Y, Z, or I love the way you do X, Y, Z. But then somebody else says the opposite. Now, what do you do? How do you receive and use that feedback effectively? With the group, you're also seeing, just from a curriculum standpoint, we're seeing what works. If one person says, I didn't understand, I'm like, okay, maybe you didn't understand. Maybe that's on you. I don't know. We'll still work with that client and help them really dig in. But if two or three people tell me, I didn't understand that concept, I'm like, okay, there's definitely something not cool about the way that we're explaining this particular concept. We need to improve this. There's a lot of room for improvement here. So I love that feedback. That's really powerful if you're willing to really lean into curriculum design. And then the final piece is, if you look at my one-on-one, I put resistance in all caps. Same deal for group. I see so many breakthroughs that would never have happened if it wasn't a group. You can put one resistant, stuck, scared, completely like locked down client in a group of, obviously it's the way that you hold that space that's really important, and learning to hold that space in a powerful way is part of this journey. That's one of the things we both embody for our clients so they can experience it, and we teach them how to do it in our program. But when you know how to hold that space well, what ends up happening is that it feels safe, that that client now may not have related to your experience because you didn't have exactly the same experience as that client. But now in this group where there is a huge diversity of gender and age and race and income level and industry and and topic and you name it, now this client is like, man, if this breakthrough is happening for this person and this person and this person and this person, and they're all completely different, maybe it is me. Like maybe I am the common denominator here. What is it that's available? That there's a curiosity that's generated there. And oftentimes just hearing things in stereo can often change the way that somebody is willing and able to receive coaching and guidance. So tell me if this resonates for you. I would love to hear some of the benefits that you came up with. This is really, really powerful. Okay. And then I want to hear your fears. So some of the fears that I've heard people say, so I'm going to read some of the fears that I see here. So Sneha says, group fears. People won't be vulnerable enough to experience growth. I'll be unable to serve each client fairly in the same hour. That's one. Jamie says, okay. So I'm looking at, this is my fear, not getting a cohesive group. That's Devorah. So let's talk about fears. I'm going to talk you through, if Pat can pull up that last slide, I'll talk you through my fears, or some of the fears that I've dealt with in my own practice that prevented me from doing group way back in the day until I overcame them. And then some of the fears that I see our clients bringing us. One, can't adjust speed or customization, right? So we talked about that. You won't be able to serve, it's exactly what Devorah is saying. I won't be able to serve people fairly. I won't be able to go fast or slow enough. Jealousy, if one person is stuck and then the other person is winning, then there's going to be jealousy, and it's going to create this like yucky environment in the group. Jealousy is a real thing, but there's ways to move through it. There's ways to use it. In fact, jealousy can be an incredibly powerful tool if you as a coach are skilled enough in using it and harnessing its energy. It has a lot of energy to then help that client use it to move through whatever the resistance is. Size. Well, isn't there going to be a ceiling with group size as well? Maybe, but that's a really great problem that you actually want to have, because I will tell you this, by the time you get to a ceiling with size, you're going to have a crap ton more revenue to play with. You're going to have way more resources. You can start to hire people. You can start to split the group. You can do a whole bunch of things that you can in that context, right? Yes, and you will need, as I mentioned it before, you will need strong facilitation skills if you don't consider yourself a strong facilitator. Or, and I know this has been an issue for so many of our clients, if you've been in other groups and have had crappy experiences, then you're just like, ew, this is like, that is what group is, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. Does that make sense? So tell me if any of this resonates. Yoni says, how do you get people in a group who aren't in training for something but have personal issues to work through? That's all people. Just so we're clear, Yoni. People come to us obviously to help them grow their businesses. But the thing that we do that makes us so freaking effective is we work on the person, not the problem. Because if we understand where the person's coming from and where their limiting beliefs are and what are all the fears that are holding them back, if we're working on the emotional stuckness underneath the problem, that's what's going to give them the breakthrough. The tactics, I will be honest with you, we have clients in our group that employ almost opposite tactics, and it works for all of them because it's not about the tactic. Different tactics will resonate differently for different people. And that's one of the reasons that we don't teach in terms of formula. Oh, am I freezing? I just noticed my screen's kind of like freezing up there. Can you guys see me still?
Yeah, I can see you. We're good. We're good.
Okay, cool. All right. So what I was saying is that if you don't get to the root of things, then we also don't teach in terms of formula. We teach in terms of frameworks. So we tell you what the process is, and we tell you why it's important. We give you a deep understanding of why it's designed a particular way. And then that way you're invited to bring your genius to the table, your depth of understanding of your clients, which we also help you deepen, right? And then you're like, hey, I like this for you. This makes sense for you, but I might want to do more one-on-one work here. I might want to, gently tweak this and do it in a completely different way or a different context. Great. You're the expert. My job is not to tell you what to do. My job is not to give you a formula. My job is to connect you to your deepest truth and get all the resistance that's in the way out of it, and then give you just enough structure so that all that freed up energy has a place to go. And that way you can start the momentum, and then you can continue to build with your confidence that you can design something that works for you. I designed Impact with Influence at a time when people said, you can't possibly start with the premium program. There has to be I was told this all the time, a ladder of ascension. It has to start with free, and it has to then be like a small dollar, like less than $10 thing. And then there's all this, like you have to build all of those steps. And I was like, no, I just don't want to do it anymore. I tried it. It sucked. I'm out. Right? And I had to break all the rules. I had to create a new framework. So you can do it any number of different ways if you've got the right framework. Does that make sense? Deborah's like, you're good. I'm like, I try. All right. Jackie says, what if people don't speak up or you can't get through everyone's questions? So part of this is learning to be a better facilitator. And again, work with us because you'll see how we do it. One of the things we learned early on is that typically a cohort, one thing you realize is that your clients, they're attracted to you for a reason. And because they're attracted to you, they have a certain core set of problems. Now, will you have outliers that have different problems? Obviously. But there's going to be all of those problems. Ultimately, if you boil them down and distill them, the roots are very similar. And there's going to be like 5 or 6 core issues that you're dealing with. If you're able to distill them, and this is one of the things we help our clients do, then what ends up happening is you'll be able to group the questions that your clients ask. So let's say you have 20, 25 people on the call. First of all, not everybody's going to ask a question. There's that. But let's assume that you had 20 questions to get through in 90 minutes. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to start grouping the questions, and you're going to talk through them. You're going to customize them and touch each person, be like, okay, for you, this is how it applies. For you, this is how it applies. For you, this is how it applies. These are all the different ways that these tie together. And actually it's a benefit to those people because they ask their question with a very specific understanding of the problem. But now you've related their question to these other 3 questions that are similar, but not exactly the same. And they're beginning to see, oh, there's a common pattern, there's a common thread here. And in hearing how you resolve somebody else's problem that's similar but not the same to theirs, they're going to have an actually wider toolkit and a wider understanding of what's available to them as a resource to solve their own problem. And that's ultimately what you want to do as a coach, is help people solve their own problems. Does that make sense? Tell me if this resonates for you, Jackie. Tell me if that answered your question. All right, I want to keep walking through, because one of the biggest pieces about one-on-one. So far we've discussed one-on-one benefits and fears versus one-on-one benefits and fears of group. But the fact of the matter is, you don't have to choose. You don't have to choose. That was one of my ahas, right? This was an epiphany that I had, is that, wait, I don't have to choose. I can have both, which means I'm adding group on top of one-on-one. So people can get more benefit. They can get all of the benefits on both those sides. Do you understand now? Go back to your piece of paper and realize that when you have a hybrid program like we have, so Impact with Influence is a hybrid, all your mindset sessions are deep one-on-one. All of your direct interactions with me are on calls, face-to-face. Our group, right? And you're talking to the copy coaches and I as a group, but then you have your assigned copy coach that's working with you in writing through help desk. That's all one-on-one as well. So you can structure it however it makes sense for your specific, the breakthroughs that your specific clients need to have. So we help you design that, because every client is slightly different from every other client, right? So we're showing you, we're embodying the practice. And you don't have to choose. So you can have that intimacy and trust and breakthroughs from one-on-one, and then you can have the momentum and community and co-creation of group. Does that make sense? And in combining them, a lot of the fears get melted away. Go look at your page and you'll see for yourself. Does this make sense? So there we go. All right. This feels like such an epiphany to be able to hold a hybrid of one-on-one and group. I know it was for me too. So I totally get it because I am you. Like this was a huge deal for me. We do get a lot of, so we do a lot of tactical business building stuff in the group. Everything that we do has a side of mindset because frankly, when your mindset is right and when you're out of your way and you're not looking through the lens of fear, everything's available to you. That's the truth. It doesn't matter what tactic you use, it's going to work. That's what I've come to realize. In working with hundreds of people, when the person is clear, almost any tactic will work. They can do everything wrong and it still works. And when the person is all scrunched up, then they can follow the rules and do everything right, and it still feels completely stuck. Does that make sense? So we know that the thing that we have to always work on is the emotional release, the mindset work, what is the actual story. So we have a framework that we use called PSA. Like, what is the story? What are the alternatives available? We have all of these different techniques that we use with clients. And in helping them release their own fears, we're also, think about it, we work with coaches, right? We're expanding your coaching toolkit. And what I love about doing it this way is that this is not a coach certification where I'm teaching you a bunch of theory. I'm helping you use the tools on yourself to free yourself. You can see for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. You can see which ones work for you, add those to your toolkit, and then you get to pay that forward and take it to your clients. Does that make sense? So that's really, really powerful. So Jackie says, is there a lack of trust if people want to sign up for Geeta and they get another mindset coach? Oh, great question. So the fact of the matter is, I am not a hypnotherapist. I don't know how to do EFT and NLP and some of these really deep energy healing things. Like, I am not qualified for this. So the truth of the matter is, if I was doing your one-on-one mindset work, like, you would be actually losing out, because the people who are on my team that deliver that aspect, they're geniuses in a way that I'm not. You get to work with me in the group setting, and I'm obviously looking at your tickets as well, and I'm interacting with you one-on-one in the group and so on and so forth. So you get a lot of action with me, but I stick to my lane. I'm really freaking great at certain things. That's not one of them. So it's not that you got baited and switched where you signed up for Geeta and you got somebody else. It's the opposite. You signed up for Geeta and you got somebody else. That's how it works. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, yes. Somebody had a question. Well, pricing. I want to be able to charge a premium, and if it's group, it has to be cheaper. Let me disabuse you of this notion. I actually didn't even put that on my list of fears because it never occurred to me because it's been so long. We do super premium. Like, I'll tell you, we're a substantial investment to work with us. And yes, it is a group hybrid program. So there is one-on-one and there's group. But the fact of the matter is, you can charge a premium for group because, again, it's exactly what I just said. People are getting the one-on-one component and they're getting the community. So they're not getting less, they're getting more. And they're getting more of a curriculum-based, standardized. Okay, so let me explain this piece to you. Okay. Oftentimes, from my experience anyway, when I've noticed that people are doing one-on-one coaching, it's much more free form. It's what I call reactive coaching, right? You come to the table and you react to whatever's there. The person brings you a problem and then you work on solving the problem. And you're like, okay, well, how are things going this week? And then you dive into whatever the frick is there. Now, when the way we teach you how to do it is there's more of a journey mapped out. There are videos to watch. There are templates to fill. There are audios to listen to. There's a whole process that has been mapped out. And if you're like, whoa, that sounds really cookie cutter. I hear you. I know, I understand. Here's the deal. It's not cookie cutter. Because what this is, again, I talked about a framework. This curriculum, this process, this journey is the structure. It's the guardrails that help protect you when your velocity is picking up. You want to be able to provide a consistent experience to your customers, right? So what the way I look at it is, assume the work is 100%, right? 80% of what we do with every single client is exactly the same. It needs to be, in order for us to do the right diagnosis and figure out what actually is going on under the hood. That 80% is exactly the same for every single client. Why the frick would I spend my precious time and energy doing the same thing with every single client? That's a waste of my energy. So I've processized the 80% that can be processized. There is a 20% that is absolute magic. It is the alchemy that happens when our energies combine. It is absolutely different for every single client, and there is no way in hell to turn that into anything process, right? Because it's magic. But here's the thing, because I've processized and freed myself up from the 80%, 100% of my energy and attention is available for the 20% that is magic. That is what creates better outcomes for clients than they would have gotten with that more loosey-goosey one-on-one structure. Okay? And because you're able to collapse time like that, you're able to charge more, and it feels completely reasonable. Hopefully that answers your question. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see. What else do I have for you? Oh, hybrid coaching allows and delivers better outcomes. This is what we just talked about, right? Tell me what your biggest aha is from watching the training so far. I love hearing what lands for you. It also helps me know what I can create for you that's going to take you deeper. And I don't want you to go anywhere, because I'm about to invite Hinda Isa, who's one of our clients, onto here. She does have a group coaching program. It's not business. And it's not health. Well, it's kind of health-ish. She helps people with chronic pain, women specifically with chronic pain. She even does it in French. So it's a really interesting, again, we teach in frameworks because it really can be translated literally, in this case, in terms of language, across any industry that you could possibly imagine, as long as it makes sense as a premium program, which means that the outcome has to be worth a substantial amount of money, because it's costing people a tremendous amount of time, money, energy, effort, attention to maintain the status quo the way that they are. All right. So let's see. Are we ready to bring Hinda on? Yeah.
Of course, but
right? The 80-20 idea. This makes no sense.
You were just about to talk about the hybrid coaching allows to deliver better outcomes, and then you just...
It does.
Oh, okay. That's all? Okay. That's all there's... Oh, okay. So you want me to bring in... Hinda is waiting for you, actually.
Awesome. I want to talk... I'm just bring Hinda, baby. I want to talk to Hinda now. So I just don't want this training to go on for the rest of my life or your life. So there's Hinda. Yay!
Hi.
Hinda. Hi. Okay, so tell everyone, just really briefly, tell people about your program, and then I will ask you,
yes.
we'll go from there.
I teach women a smart movement system to heal chronic body pain and better deal with stress and anxiety. That's what I do.
Yay! I love that. So Hinda, just to kind of back us up so people have context, because some of the folks who are watching are not clients of ours. They're like, should we work with this person? What led you to reach out to me and to Impact with Influence?
So I first seeked out Iwi because I just completely fell in love with you, how smart, charismatic, and magnetic you are. And I also wanted to refine my messaging, but I had no idea how smart you really were until I did join Iwi and learned so much from the way you coach your own clients. And literally every time you open your mouth during the coaching program to speak your wisdom, I literally fill up complete notebooks of notes I'm taking, just because everything you say is a big revelation and has a huge impact in my business.
I'm shocked that my head can still fit in this bubble. I am just curious. I need to bottle you and wear you on my wrist. This is crazy. What were some of your biggest fears? When you met us, by the time you signed up for Iwi, Iwi, by the way, is IWI, Impact with Influence. This is what we call the program backstage. So what were some of your biggest fears, if any, making the leap to group? Because at some point you would have been working one-on-one, and then you would have had the same fears that I think a lot of the people in our community do. So what were some of those original fears?
Well, in fact, I used to do some groups and some one-on-one coaching, but it was an hourly rate. So just the fact to go online and charge more, that was one of my biggest fears. I had a little program that was $9.97, and I was super scared that nobody would purchase at a higher rate than that price. And so I joined Iwi, and the first month I offered my program at 3,500. I made 30K that month, so it was like my highest profitable month. So those fears were
unfounded.
Yeah, exactly. It was thanks to you guys.
But so tell us what some of the shifts, because I remember, like just to like lay it all out there here, you were freaking out, right? There was this moment where you were just like, okay, I need to offer, I have a bunch of calls booked, like, do I offer it at the old rate, which feels safe, which I know how to do? I'm just going to go do that because, now it's all online. It's not in person. It's like, it's group. Who's going to pay that much money for group? That was I remember you talking about this. So walk us through what that transformation felt like from your point of view, because I remember what it was like for us, but go ahead.
Yeah. I was thinking that my mindset was not ready. And I think I was at week 3 only of the program, and I did all that mindset work that you guys teach so beautifully. And I already felt a big change in my confidence and the way I perceived my program. I did some subtle changes, but that were really impactful in my program. And I thought I was not ready. I was like, no, that's impossible. In only 3 weeks, I cannot get those results. Nobody's going to purchase. But still, with that little work that I did, it had a huge impact. And now I trust myself so much more, not only in the way that I write copy and plan my messaging, but also the entire sales process on the phone is like 1,000 times easier. And for my clients, now that I took the chance to design that high ticket program, they have way better results, a deeper transformation. They're way more committed to the work. I now have a team of experts that inspire me to coach better and help those women heal at the deep source of their pain and not only address the superficial symptoms like I used to. So I dare to dream much bigger because of that now.
I have goosebumps because you said the magic words. You said, I trust myself more. That is literally my capital P purpose, is to help people connect with their truth. My job here is done. Like, this is amazing. So what is some of the shifts? Like you alluded to the fact that your folks are getting better results. You did make certain changes, subtle though they may have been, to your program based on, I'm assuming, your experience of ours, right? Like, this is something we see. Everybody comes in and they have all these like tactical things in their program. And then by week 3, they're like, oh, I need to have a lot more mindset stuff. Like, I need to have a lot more healing stuff. I need to have a lot more deeper subconscious stuff, right? Because
definitely. Yeah. Because before I thought I was only touching the body. I was like, okay, those women are in pain. I'm going to tell them what to do physically. And deep down, I knew that they needed so much more. And that healing is on a spiritual level and emotional and intellectual with mental blocks. But I was too scared to go there. I was like, that's not my specialty. And I was like, but why can't I bring people that are going to be part of the process? So I definitely inspired myself from your own program. And now the transformation is so much deeper because I just give them exactly what they need. When a woman had like other blocks before, I was like, sorry, I can do nothing for you. Go see someone else. And now I have this whole team that elevates the process and the clients. So it's like so much more satisfaction to teach, and I trust the process so much more. I know it's rock solid.
I love that. What are some of the other shifts that have happened in your life? Like, this is the program, and this is the shifts that you've had with your clients. Are there other things that you're noticing in the rest of your life that have also moved?
Well, it impacts everything. When your business is developing and when you're growing inside, it affects all the aspects of your life, like your relationships and the way you're teaching your kids, you're talking to them, everything. Yeah, every aspect of my life is impacted because my business is growing right now.
I love that. And one thing I know from what I love about this whole thing also is that your entire business is in French. So even the media stuff, like you had to translate our methodology. This is why I like frameworks. You had to translate the methodology and then apply it to the French only market, which is not something we provided. How did that go?
Yeah, that worked really well. Like I just spent one day applying your methodology to contact media, and I programmed all the emails and everything. And since, I don't know, the last 2 months, I had like one interview at the radio. I went on TV at TVA Spa, which is like a big deal here. And I had some
Huge.
blogs.
It's the biggest. It's the biggest.
Yeah, I wrote articles in a few places. So, and I know it's going to keep going. So it's really a solid method that I'm going to keep applying, and that I know it's going to have like a huge impact on my business. Yeah, you can see that my face.
Isn't she gorgeous? She was on TV. This is so fun.
Yeah,
oh my God.
yeah. I could have never imagined just trying to go on media before. It was not even like in my reach. I didn't think it was possible.
And that's the thing. I think ultimately, thank you so much, Hinda. This is like so generous of you. And I'm so grateful to have been a part of this journey. And what I want to share with everybody as we wrap here is when you learn to trust yourself, that filters, and then you have the right support and you have, some help with the curriculum and some of the pieces of your business. So there's the program you're going to have, there's the pieces and the tactics around your program. Then there's the larger aspect of like, okay, how do you design your business? How do you think like a business owner? How do you think about the work? And then how do you think about yourself? There are all these aspects. And when you learn to trust yourself, then that helps you fall in love with and trust the process at a much deeper level. And then when you're able to trust the process at a deeper level, then that expands what is available to you and your business and your work and your clients, and everybody wins. It's not just Hinda's making more money, it's her clients are having bigger, better breakthroughs. And that's what's really waiting for you when you make this shift. So I hope this has been helpful. If you're looking for the kind of support that we provided Hinda and we provide to all of our clients that we just talked about, use the link on your screen, apply to speak to someone on my team, and we will help you make the same connection to yourself and your truth so that you can put your magic out there. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.